Hey guys, welcome back to the Unleashed podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Reger, and today we're chatting with my good friend, longtime friend, Delia Ursulescu. I know her from all of the Amazon stuff that we used to be in. She is so brilliant. She's done all kinds of different businesses. I'm just always amazed at everything that she's has done and is getting into. And today's conversation is fascinating. All kinds of different things from her journey of faith, her growing up in Romania, and especially AI. So this is not something I've talked about a lot on this show, but it's interesting. I use artificial intelligence almost every single day, and Delia is way above me in her use of it and how she thinks of it as a thinking partner. It's not just your assistant. She uses it as a strategic thinking partner, and she's got some prompts she wants to give away. And there'll be a link in the show notes that you can go to and get her free 3 prompts that will give you massive clarity and just help you interact with AI in a brand new way that will just take that interaction to a new level. But Delia is so smart, so brilliant. I always learn something when I talk to her, but I know you're going to love this episode. Here it is. Delia, welcome to Unleashed. So good to see you.
Hey, it's a pleasure to be here. It's
So I
been a
can't
while.
believe, I don't know that you weren't on when we had streams of income. I don't know that you were on, which is my fault. I'm so sorry because you would have been an amazing guest. Because I met Delia through Amazon stuff, and she's a genius and has always got new ideas as a visionary. And I think you came to a retreat that Jenny and I had we did in San Diego, and you wowed everybody with your idea of the funnel and all the business stuff. It was just amazing. So glad to have you.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, now you set the bar really high. We
I
have to
did. That's right.
deliver.
Oh, it'll be good. So we got all kinds of fun things to talk about. We mainly want to handle AI because that's something that you've been deep into for years, and so you are light years ahead of most people on AI. And so we can talk about that and how you're using it and how people should use it. But first, I want to just hear your story. Share who you are to people and how you got to where you are.
Yeah, I'd love to share my story. I grew up in a communist country in Romania. I was small when communism fell, but the repercussion, right, the culture that was built by communism for decades was still there. A lot of corruption, Protestants or believers being viewed as second-class citizens,
Mm,
right, because communism emphasized atheism and persecuted Christians. So that was the context I grew up in. I know as a teenager, I struggled with a lot of big questions about how would a good God
mm,
allow so much suffering for his supposed kids. So
yeah.
growing up in the church, having Christian parents, I heard a lot about the persecution, the sufferings that believers suffered during communism. And as a teenager, even though communism was gone by that point, it wasn't the government leading things. I just struggle with so many questions. Um, because of communism, they didn't allow Christians to have seminaries and schools to
Oh
train
wow.
their people. There wasn't a lot of knowledge, right? People
Mhm,
would have their Bibles, but there wasn't a lot of knowledge available.
mhm.
So a lot of the pastors weren't trained in answering some of the deep questions.
Wow. Yeah.
Some didn't, like any other country, you have different types of people. So that's the background. And it's an important part of my story because I spent most of my academic school, post high school life studying those types of questions.
Mm.
And then after I finished, grad degree and had some health issues, ended up in business. It was more like a mistake. I'm like, oh, I need to make some money. What can I do? Got into freelancing, then discover Amazon importing from
Yeah.
China. Opened that
Gosh.
business with a friend from college.
Yeah.
It's been a fun ride.
Yes.
Going from studying philosophy and theology to buying businesses has been a really crazy 15-ish years, but a lot
Yes.
of fun, big adventure. And there's probably a lot of things that are going to come up in from my story as we talk.
Yeah, that's good.
Overall, What has been really fun is that the same thing that drove me to apologetics and philosophy
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
studying theology deeper, asking good questions,
Hmm.
has been the best skill that has helped me in every business endeavor and now
Wow.
in AI, because AI is all about asking good questions. The
Yes.
better questions you give the LLMs, right, the language models,
Yeah.
the better questions you form, the better answers you get, right?
Yes.
Right input gives you right output.
Gosh.
So
Yes.
it's fun, right, to see our trajectories, how you see
Yes.
patterns and ideas, and they always play a role. Those natural
Yeah.
tendencies that can become your strengths and your
That's so
skills.
good.
So that's part of my story. Asking questions, thinking,
Yeah.
curious, has helped me. It also made
Hmm.
me lose a lot of money because I wouldn't take action on things. I would
Right.
overthink things. But
Yeah.
overall, it served me well.
Right. That's awesome. Well, not awesome that you lost money on stuff because I've been there too. Yeah. I mean, that's interesting that you say with the apologetics, how was there ever a time that you were like, why did I do that? And I mean, now you have more of a runway to look back and see how it prepared you for what you're doing now. But was there ever a time that you were like, I'm in business now. Lord, why did you lead me to apologetics and seminary and all that? Did you have that question?
Um, I don't think so. I know every time I thought about my schooling, I
Hmm.
was very grateful that I
Hmm.
had the ability to build a strong foundation. So
Hmm.
when I went into business, I already figured out some things, what I believe, my values. It
Yeah.
gave me pretty strong foundation and good arguments
Hmm.
to address some of the doubts I struggle with as a
Yeah.
believer. Like I said,
Yeah.
as a teenager, I could not accept the Christian God because
Hmm.
I could not understand how this Christian God would allow certain things to happen. And
Yeah.
I got answers. All the answers we get are imperfect, they're not
Hmm.
perfect. But I
Right.
got enough insights into why he would allow certain things that it made it easy for me to say, okay, I want to serve this God.
Yeah.
Uh, so all of those studies and trainings and questions have allowed me to build a strong foundation. I
Good.
never saw business and apologetics as being
Hmm.
opposed to each other or not helpful. I see them as one feeding the other or
So
helping
good.
the other.
Yeah.
I think I'm a better business person because of it. Now, again, when I was an immature, inexperienced business person, my overthinking, right, made me take less action. And
Right.
we know that action breeds momentum. You have
Yes.
to test things. So I probably lost quite a bit of money. But the good thing is, I didn't go too far, too fast into the
Yeah.
wrong path
Yeah.
either.
That's
And
good.
all of those studies kind of helped me
Yeah.
to be safe because once you start making a little bit of money or you make money easily,
Hmm.
the money can change you as a person. That was the
Yes.
one thing I didn't want. I
Yeah.
did not want to become a type of person that forgets or it doesn't accept that all that we receive is simply a gift. Even my abilities to, even my likes, right, my natural tendencies are gifts from God that I'm supposed to use to grow in who He made me to be,
Yes.
and to serve others and
Mhm.
bless others. And as I do it, I have a lot more fun and I grow. So it's like an upward spiral. I help
Yeah.
other people, that blesses me, and then I'm motivated to keep doing it. So I don't know if that
So
makes
good.
sense.
It does. And I was wondering if you might say, yeah, because some people look back and they're like, I don't know why the Lord led me here and then here. But then when they get to a certain age and it starts to converge into like the thing that they were meant to do, oh, now I get it. That's cool that you got it early on. But some people, I think about my journey and like, what politics? I know I was doing what I was supposed to do, but now I kind of understand. I feel like I see the path, but sometimes it's hard to tell when you're right in it. Like, why am I here doing this? I want to be doing this, and then at some point it makes a lot of sense. You're like, oh, these things built on top of each other to make me who I am, and now I have this unique skill, talent, ability that nobody else has that I can use for the kingdom.
Yeah, that's a very good insight. I think I'm glad you made that point because it's true. There is a convergence of all of these life's experiences, life stories,
Hmm.
and they're part of the bigger story God has for us.
Yeah.
It goes back to actually believing, right, that God is writing a story. I
Yeah.
think such a big blessing for me when other people invite me into their story, right? Allow
Hmm.
me to be part of what God is doing, and I think that's been one of the biggest tools God has used to grow me in my faith and my ability to trust in Him.
Yeah.
Because sometimes our stories kind of feel slow, like
Hmm.
building a business, right? I bought a couple of businesses 2 years ago. That first year was rough and intense because it was new and challenges and wrong employees, bad employees. So it was intense and it can feel like a lot.
Yeah.
Because it takes a little bit of time to learn the things we need to
Yes.
learn, right? But
Right.
having people in my life in that season where God was answering their prayers in specific ways was
Yeah.
encouraging to me and gave me the trust and the faith to keep pursuing the vision
Mm,
God has given me for the business.
good.
So I think, yeah, sharing our stories, inviting other people into our stories is a blessing, is a two-way street kind of
Absolutely.
blessing.
Yes. All right. So you were telling, I've seen recently you've been posting a lot about AI because you're creating a course or, right? You're creating a course about AI because you're so far ahead of where most people are, how they're using it. A lot of people are like, hey, help me write this podcast title, which is great. Nothing wrong with that. But or help me with the recipe. Again, that's nothing wrong with that. That's awesome. But you told me before we hit record that this last weekend, you think you maybe, I mean, I don't know if you're exaggerating a little bit, or even if it was just a little bit exaggerated, you got a month's work done in a weekend because of AI. That's insane. Even if you got a week's work done in a
Yeah.
weekend, that would be
No,
insane.
I don't think it's an exaggeration, and I'll tell you why. Again, there are different types of people out there. Sometimes we overthink. It might take a week to make decisions. So
Hmm.
AI has allowed me, right, over the weekend to make some decisions, make some things, write some emails, sequences.
Hmm.
I created a website in like 30 minutes, the copy and the website using AI, and that would have taken me a lot longer because
Sure.
there's that friction, right? When you're trying to do something that you don't do all the time.
Yeah.
I can build websites, but I'm really rusty at it, pretty bad at it. So I
Hmm.
use Lovable, which you with just a prompt, you can tell Lovable to create your website, and it created the website in 5 minutes. It took
What?
30 to 45 minutes because I changed the copy and I couldn't decide what I wanted to do. So that was the problem, right?
Yeah.
A lot of the times, the problem is we don't know what we need to do. AI can speed that process in 30 to 45 minutes if you have the right prompt, if you know how to craft your prompts.
Yeah.
You get more clarity to at least move forward because
Hmm.
we all know if you've had any success in business you're going to make mistakes, you have to test, experiment, and then you get to a point where something works. But if you don't start, you'll never get those answers. You have to
Yeah.
start and do some iterations of your test, your experiment.
Yes.
That's why I was able to say in one weekend, it was a long weekend, so I had
Sure.
Saturday, Monday. I was able to do the equivalent of about a month work of
Amazing.
yeah,
Yeah.
a month. Yeah,
That's
that's
incredible.
it's pretty crazy.
It
Uh,
is.
I've used AI, for the last couple of years. The first year I didn't go heavy into it. It's in the last year that I started to spend a lot more time on it because I realized I'm a small business owner. I'm still involved in the day-to-day operations of our businesses,
Hmm.
print shop and a hood cleaning, commercial janitorial business
Hmm.
here locally. So there's a lot of random things I have to do: emails, contracts, hiring people, training manuals for our employees. Postcards we sent out to get more clients, letters we sent out to get more clients for the other business. All of that would have taken me 10 times longer to do by myself. I think
Yeah.
I would have been able to do it. Almost all of us probably could do it. With
Mhm.
AI, right? By using the right prompt, I was able to, in usually 30 to 45 minutes, to get done what would have taken me 5 to 7 to 10 hours. And it's
Wow.
not necessarily only the amount of time I would work, is all that thinking, right, that you
Mm.
put into it is um, is like heavy load on your brain.
Yes.
You can't think deeply about stuff for 10 hours.
Right.
You just can't. It's not possible. You have a limited amount of window in a day where you can do
Yeah.
deep work. Well, AI can help with that so that you get a resolution and you can move quickly forward. So that's kind of how I use it. It's really a tool, a thinking partner, a
Yes.
group partner, and it also allows me to get a lot of things done. Like this morning, I sent out some cold emails to get new clients for our hood cleaning company. And, sometimes you're not quite sure what to say. Oh, the person responded with this to my initial email. What should I say? So I got 3 ideas from AI. I
Yeah.
took whatever I liked, changed it a little bit. So
Mhm.
5 minutes instead of maybe 30 minutes of me thinking.
Yes.
So every 10 minutes, 15 minutes you save with AI adds up a lot as a
It
business
does.
owner.
It totally does. You said it's your thinking partner. Most people aren't using it that way. So, how do you get those kind of results? What do you even tell it to even have it be elevated to that level?
Yeah, that's a great question. There are different ways to think about this question. You can use AI really to eliminate or automate some tasks, and there are tons of tools out there that can do all kinds of stuff for you.
Mhm.
I like to use it to augment what we're doing, to magnify or maximize what we're doing.
Mhm.
And that's because when you take industry knowledge or expertise and you add AI on top of it, right,
Mhm.
as a thinking partner, you get much, much faster than someone who doesn't have that knowledge.
Mhm.
Let's say hood cleaning.
Mhm.
Ryan, you don't know anything about it, right?
Right.
So if
No.
you try to develop a marketing campaign for a hood cleaning company, it would probably take you 3 to 4 hours just to understand what do hood cleaners struggle with, what do the
Yeah.
clients struggle with. Well, I have industry knowledge because I've been in this world for two
Yes.
years. When
Yes.
I go to AI, I can create prompts that are going to give me 10x to 20x better results than
Mm.
what you would get in the same amount of
Yes.
time until you
Correct.
get caught up, right? Then you learn as much as I know about the industry. So when you combine expertise with AI, you get much, much better results. If we think as an iceberg, right? At the top are the superficial types of ideas and about an industry that we might have. The
Mhm.
people who have been in there, right? They're somewhere on the bottom and they
Yes.
understand the nuances. That's where I see AI being really great for business owners
Yeah.
now. Before, you spend months or weeks learning how to automate things, which
Mhm.
most business owners can benefit from, but really is knowing what to focus on is probably more important than automating stuff, because automation should only happen to a system that's working really well. So
Mhm.
if your system is not working well, why would you automate anything? I've made that mistake, right? I would try to find a tool to figure things out for me, but the tools are only going to do what you tell them to do. Even
Yes.
AI is not magic at the end of the day. It's just pattern recognition
Yes.
tool, right? They're predicting stuff based on the pre-trained information they got. So they're generating information, but it's based on prior stuff they've been fed, and then the examples and the words, the copy you put in your prompt is going to direct the AI
Yes.
how to go about it. Because let's take any example. Let's say building a meal plan for the day. A
Mhm.
dietitian, an entrepreneur, a mom, and some other person. Let's say a health nut who is like super a vegan health nut,
Yeah.
right? All of those people are going to look at the same question, a meal plan, very differently, right?
Yeah.
AI is trying to give you an answer. If you give it context
Mhm.
and you point it right, it's going to focus on what matters for that type of person, whether
Yeah.
that's a health nut or just a mom who wants to make healthy meals and not spend a lot, right?
Yes.
The context, the constraints is going to give you a lot of different answers and better
Yes.
answers. So that's kind of the idea, right?
Mm.
the same thing with expertise. When you bring it to the table, you ask very specific things that matter to your audience, to your clients, to your prospects, and then you get better results.
Yes.
That's why I think of it as a thinking partner.
That's so good. You said that before we hit record that there's a framework. Do you want to go through that? Because that was super valuable. Because if my goal, you just mentioned, if I'm a busy mom, my goal for meal planning might be to save time. Me personally, my goal might be to lose weight. That's totally different than saving time. Now, I probably could build a prompt that'll say save time and help me lose weight, which is a whole other context. But you have to know what you want from it to know what to input in it to get the result that you want. But you have a framework for this.
Yeah. Let's see. Maybe if we take an example, it would be easier. Grow my business by 100% in the next 6 months. So that's a pretty big goal.
Yeah, would AI even tell you, come on, Delia, that's a little bit like out there. Like, have you been can you program it to be, I've seen often, it's like, it'll agree with everything I say. But I don't want it to agree with everything I say. It's smart. It knows all this knowledge. I want it to push back and say, wait, hold on, dude, let's slow it down to maybe 50%.
Yeah, I did have it actually. I input in the prompt things like, I want you to be blunt and realistic based on what it's possible for a business of this size given this context. So you can program it to.
That's so good, and that would be in the like if we're using Chat GPT, that becomes part of the memory then that it builds off of.
It depends. You can make it part of the memory, or you can just make it part of the prompt. So going to the formula, I use this formula just to remind myself of the steps I need to do. I call it the craft formula because you're crafting prompt. So I start with C, which stands for character or role. Who is going to answer this? Do you want the AI to act as a marketing expert? Do you want it to be an HR expert? Do you want it to be a super detailed mom who has done this for her kids? Blah blah. Give it context. What's the role?
Yes.
If you ask a psychological behavior analyst to answer a question, that person's gonna be it's gonna give you a very different answer from I don't know a life coach. Right. So it's important to identify. And if you don't know what the role should be, you can converse with AI to get AI to get the answers you need. So you can get AI to make stuff for you, generate stuff for you, generate ideas. You can fix things like, hey, improve my email copy. I just write stuff. It's like, I don't want to spend 15 minutes to edit this. Edit it for me. Right. But then you can also think with AI and figure out what you need.
Every time you do that, like if you need fixing on an email, do you input it like, you are the best email marketer in the world? Okay.
No. Okay. For easy tasks, you just use easy prompt and you usually get amazing results.
Okay.
You use mega prompts. So you have prompts and mega prompts. You use mega prompts, the craft formula, the character, result, angle, function, and template. Right, those are the letters stand for character, result, angle, function, and template. You use a mega prompt or a multi-purpose prompt because you need consistent results, you need good results, and then you can reuse the prompt. Character, role, right? Who is the person? If I'm asking about growing my business by 100%, I tell him, like, I want you to act like a business advisor who has helped small businesses in the $1 million range per year to double their businesses without working a crazy amount of hours and losing my health. You give it some constraints. I want you to be blunt and XYZ. You can also talk about the style. So you can stack different characteristics about this person. Like, who would you want to answer your question about doubling your business? Because I'm more interested in hearing the answer from someone who has done it without working 100 hours a week. I'd like to still work only 40, 50 hours and accomplish that. So a coach who has done it, they're going to have systems and processes that get me to that goal.
Exactly.
character, right? And you can
Yep.
stack some details about the type of person you would want to work with. Then results or outcome, like what do you want at the end? Do you want a plan, a 90-day plan to start implementing things? Do you want you have to tell the AI, do you want AI to kind of coach you through this to come up with a plan? So the result is just telling AI what you want to accomplish. Then the angle is the context. The angle kind of covers who you are, right? What is your business? You have to give AI some details about your business. The more details you give it, the better results you get. For instance, for a print shop, I could say, I don't have a salesperson on staff. So I can build a plan that is going to be very sales focused, right? I don't want to have a plan that's going to require a full-time person to do it.
Yes.
Can I create a plan that's going to only need 10 hours of my time, or someone who's not an expert at selling can do it on my team? So you give some context to, that's the angle, the context.
Yes. Yes.
Also, you can add things here that focus on, time frame, limitations, constraints, all of that can be added here. Then the function or the task is what AI is going to do for you. So at this point, you can, and some of these have overlaps. So it's not like, oh, if I put this thing in the wrong section, I'm not going to get a good answer. No, AI is going to be able to read it. This is just to remind you that there's a few steps. There's things you have to include there, and it's intended to keep you on track.
Yes.
But I wouldn't worry too much. Now you can play around if you're an experimenter, right? And you can write prompts differently by adding your intention before the craft prompt formula. And I've done that at times to kind of see which one gives me better results, and that's how you can refine your prompts.
Sure.
If you want to do the same thing all the time. So the question of I want to double my business in the next 6 months, it's something I can go walk through that prompt every month or every 3 months. Right? So I want to have a prompt that works really well. That's where you would experiment. But the function task part, let's go back to just finalize the craft. The function part is really focused on the task of what it's going to accomplish. Give me the 90-day plan, or ask me questions, determine the right methodology I should use. You can put a lot of different things, and I can look a prompt up. I can look it up right now, and we can go through more details. The template or the output is how you want to receive the answer. So I could tell AI, let me take an example. It's probably easier because a lot of people don't really think of the output of how they want it. Let's see. So sometimes I have it create a list. Other times I have different sections. Things like feedback, the reasoning why, the plan, different tasks I can do. So I can get AI to really give me all of that information, the budget that it might take, different things. How do you want it? How do you want to receive it back? If I want to receive it as a step-by-step plan with instructions and directions, then I should ask. So that's the craft formula: character, result, angle, function, and template. The template you want to get back, and then you put it through it, and then what I do is, if I find a really good prompt, I take it and I ask AI, hey, this prompt is focused on growing a business, but I'm more interested in using this prompt to discover how to save 10 hours this week. So convert this good prompt, use all of the main parts of this prompt, to a new prompt that's going to help me accomplish my thing for this business or for this person. So you can always use AI to help you rewrite or create prompts. And AI is pretty good at figuring out how to do it. The
Yes.
better examples you give AI, the better results you're gonna get. So giving AI a good prompt is always great.
Yeah. And we were talking before we hit record too, that I was saying sometimes I don't even know because it's all about the prompt, right? I mean, the prompt is going to equal the out. I mean, it's probably, I mean, the input is going to determine what your output's going to be. But what if I don't even know exactly how to say it? I've been working with AI and saying, okay, I want this result. This is what I'm trying to do, but help me create the prompt that will get me there. And it's been fantastic because it'll even help me write the prompt. Is that a good strategy?
Yeah. Yeah, again, if you know, if you had all the money in the world, you could go ask questions of anyone in the world, any door would be open to you. Who do you think you would go to ask those types of questions? So I start there. If I don't know who the person is, I ask AI. These are the things I want to accomplish. This is the context, the business, or the issue. I don't know exactly what to ask. I don't know who to ask, but I want to talk to an expert that has answers for this problem. So help me, walk me through to discover who is the right expert. So you want to break down your what you're trying to accomplish in different steps. Like a math problem, you break it down. You first deal with multiplication before you do addition and subtraction, right? So you think of your problem, and first, if you don't know what to do, then your first step is to figure out who would I ask, who would be the expert, because you need to figure that out to get better outputs.
Yes.
Okay, now you figured out, okay, I'm going to talk to a cash flow expert because that might be the thing I need after giving AI some information. So now the cash flow expert is going to help me, but I have to ask the right question. Now, if I don't know what question to ask, then I tell AI, I'm not quite sure what's the right question. This is where I'm at. This is where I want to go. Give me some ideas of how to figure out a framework or a model to even figure out the question I should ask the expert, right? Because if you go in the right room and you have access to the best experts, but you ask the wrong questions, you're not going to get very far.
Exactly.
So you want to use AI. And I'll throw in another idea that I love to use is using different mental models. So I have a list of about, I don't know, 100 mental models. So then I take those mental models, like 80-20 rule. 20% of your results come from 80% of your outputs. The bottleneck rule or theory of constraints says that if you have a constraint in your business will never output more than whatever goes through that part of the business. So think of a garden hose, right? If there's a kink in the garden hose, it doesn't matter how much water you're trying to push through. You're gonna get only 30%. The kink is only allowing 30% of the water to go through, right? Bottleneck model. There's tons of models out there. Like literally, I think I have probably a list of 100 mental models. So then I take the mental model list, I put it in AI, in ChatGPT, and I say, I don't know which model is the best model to analyze my problem about this issue because I'm trying to figure out the best question to ask to get the best answers. So then AI will choose the top models to use, and then it takes your question and puts it through each model. So I did that with actually with questions. Let me see. I'm gonna have to look it up because
that's fine. You can put it.
It was
give me later. I'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah, it was a fun thing that I created, and it was all related to asking questions. I realized if I get better at asking questions, I am going to do a lot better as a business owner. And a business partner made that point when we had no idea what to do. I would always just ask questions of our team members, and then we would discover what's the next best step.
Yeah.
right? So questions are super, super valuable.
Yeah.
The skill of asking questions. When
So
you don't know what questions to ask, yes, use AI to
mhm.
help you in the process.
That's amazing. How much time do you spend just like thinking with it, asking questions, like brainstorming? Because that's a fun. You know
Yeah.
me. I love brainstorming. I love going back and forth, asking questions. Just what are your thoughts about this? And just I mean that's valuable time. To other people, might feel like you're wasting time playing with AI, but my goodness, I get so much value out of that.
Well, there's maybe a Japanese proverb that says, if you got on the wrong train, the sooner you get off, the less expensive it is. So the thinking part is super important.
Yeah.
In the first stage of the business, if you think of businesses as stages and getting to 5 or 10K per month consistently, that's probably the hustle stage.
Yeah.
Getting from 0 to 1 is really hard. It takes a lot of work, and it's really the hustle that's going to get you to the next stage.
Hmm.
After that stage, you have to start thinking and prioritizing thinking. So it
Hmm.
depends where you are as a business owner.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you have an established business, then you should probably spend more time thinking about what the next step is. Because you
Yeah.
get on the wrong train, it's going to be very costly.
Yeah.
If I have 5 to 7 people working for me and I put them on the wrong task, I just
Mm,
wasted how many hours? Multiply that by minimum wage, and you get hundreds
right.
of thousands of dollars lost because
Yes.
it's on the wrong task. And so we have to develop the ability to make better decisions, focus on things. And that's not to say that we won't make mistakes, or because some of those failures are learning lessons. I
Yeah.
don't know what to focus on sometimes, so I need to just go through the process, learn something, and then do better on the next experiment.
Yeah.
But as a business owner, when it comes to business owners, if we want to become the types of business owners God made us to be,
Hmm.
we have to identify the season we're in, right? That's a
Hmm.
biblical concept. What season are you in?
Yeah.
And based on the season you're in, you use AI differently, or you think about it
Yes.
differently. But if you're
Hmm.
somewhat established, you should spend a lot more time thinking and
Yeah.
praying what to focus on.
Yeah.
And for us as believers, there's also that faith aspect.
Hmm.
Sometimes we feel like we should go in a specific direction and we're not quite sure why. Like
Hmm.
sometimes we do, and it's very clear. We look at pros and cons and it makes a
Yeah.
lot of sense. But there have been times, probably in your life and mine, where we're not quite sure. Why do I feel like God is taking me in a specific direction? Well, I say just go, confirm it, and have a
Hmm.
process, right? Have mentors and
Yes.
advisors in your life, pray about it, confirm it, all that stuff. I'm assuming that whoever's listening to this knows that that's the first step. But then you just take some action and you go in a
Hmm.
specific direction. And then you'll probably have even more questions.
Yes. Yes.
And in that, right, the season you're in is super important.
Yeah.
I know understanding that concept has helped me a lot
Mm,
because I don't get to compare myself with other people. If
right.
I'm in the beginning stage, I should not compare myself to what someone with a $10 million business is doing every
Right.
day. My day to day is going to look very different. The
Yes.
season you're in is important.
Absolutely.
Prayer and all that stuff plays a huge role. Faith plays a
Yeah.
huge role. But keep in mind the season we're in. Some seasons are easier than others. Some seasons are for rest. Other seasons are for work.
Yeah.
Thinking of Ecclesiastic, there's a
Yes.
time for
There's a
everything.
time for everything.
That that also plays a big role in
Yeah.
how I use AI.
Good.
Right? What season am I in? What should I use it for?
Yeah.
That's also part of the discussion.
That's so good. Where does your faith play into this? Because I know there's a lot of Christians like I'm scared of AI. I think it's horrible. It's the devil. And of course, I don't take that view because I think it's a tool. It's just like when the internet came out, there were people that thought the internet was evil and we shouldn't use it. And probably the same thing with TV when it came out. So to me, it's a tool. But I also want to make sure I'm not replacing the Holy Spirit and hearing from God with this new, very smart tool that's on my computer. So I'm sure you've thought about this stuff before. What's your take on all that?
Yeah, it's I did think a lot, and I assume I'm going to continue to think a lot about it. I do realize AI is going to take jobs, but I also believe AI is going to create new jobs. So we don't know. We have this tendency as humans to be afraid of the unknown and make up projections and ideas of what happens, and we usually don't know. So I try not to do that, not to fall into being driven by fear, but recognize that some people are going to be affected and figure out what is my role as a business owner. What can I do? Sometimes we have a role to play. Other times, maybe the community or the country is going to do something to help other people. I'm not here, and I'm not the savior of the world. So there are many problems I cannot help. So I have to be really careful and always check, right, my decisions against our standard, which is, right, the Word of God. We have to always go back and see what are the principles driving me now? What are the principles that I find? Because a lot of the times usage of AI or any other technology is driven by certain principles. And I know social media, for instance, has been very damaging to society in many ways, increased anxiety, all these different things. But it's part of the society we're in. So what's the best we can do with these tools? How can we warn people? How can we take steps to make sure these tools don't drive us and don't take over, right, our decision-making process? Like any other technology, we have to be careful. I know we have to think deeply about these things, but we would probably be here another hour or two if we start thinking about, pros and cons and different things. But yeah, let's be careful. Let's think about it. Let's create spaces where we can talk about it. At the same time, you won't be able to have really good conversations if you don't know what the LLMs are, right? Learning language models. If you haven't used the tools, we have to have some knowledge to be able to make some good decisions. Right. And I always rest on the knowledge that God is in control, not me. And I will probably make mistakes, and that's okay. And I'm always asking for direction and wisdom for my own life and for my business decisions. And who knows what's going to happen in the future? I don't, but I can rest and rely on Him. Reading stories or hearing older people always being worried about their kids, right? Oh, the world they grow up in. And yes, there's reasons to be concerned in every culture, every society. But this has been going on for the last couple millennia. People have been worried about their kids and the society they're growing up in, and God is still there to provide and to be there for the people. So I choose trust and not fear. I choose to rely on God rather than be driven by fear. That's probably the one thing I rely on. Will I make mistakes? Probably, but that's okay too.
What's the tool that my main thing is ChatGPT. I played around with some others, but that's my core. I'm 99% of the time using that. What about you, and where do you think most people should be? Yeah,
it's important to understand what they're used for. So you have to look into that. But at the end of the day, they change so much all the time. For a while, everybody was saying for writing, use Claude. For editing, use ChatGPT. For Notebook LM is a Google's tool, allows you to put books in there. So it has a big context window. You can put books in there and ask for patterns. So if I want to learn about, I don't know, productivity, or if I want to learn about systems thinking, I can take some of the best books on the topic, some of the academic journals, and put all of that into Notebook LM, and then ask for patterns and challenges and issues. And I can get a big picture view.
Wow.
ChatGPT now has a context window, the last time I looked at it, of 50, 60 pages. So you can't really put a book in there to analyze. It can only analyze about 50, 60 pages. So if you have right? So it depends on your
Interesting. Okay.
goal and what you need.
Yeah.
I use ChatGPT most of the time and Claude. Those are the
Okay.
two I go for.
Got it.
I want to spend more time on Gemini and Grok, and I do use AI tools for other things like video creation. I've used Midjourney a lot to create custom books for some
Okay.
clients. We actually sold them. I used Midjourney for some print on demand designs
Uh,
in the past. So when I had some ideas for print on demand to put on mugs or ornaments, I used ChatGPT for copy, the wording, and
yeah,
then I used Midjourney for the images.
that's
Now,
awesome.
ChatGPT also creates images. If you need basic stuff, ChatGPT is fine.
Yeah.
Midjourney was really good once you learn all the details to create better
Yeah.
graphics. So
That's
again,
awesome.
it goes back to what's your goal? What are you trying to do? It
Mm,
goes back to vision. If you
yeah.
have the right vision, right, it's going to drive your strategy. The strategy is going to give you the tactics, and then you choose the tool. Never ever, especially with AI, or you'll lose so much time. Don't go after the tool and then figure out how can I use this tool in my business. No,
Mm,
figure out what your vision is. What type of
yes.
business do you want to build? What are you trying to do here? Otherwise, you waste time. Now,
Yes.
if you have, 2, 3 hours per week to devote to learning and
Mm,
discovering new things, then it makes sense to try different tools and see what they do. But we should always have a vision that
yeah.
drives us. Because where am I going? If I get into car and I don't know if I'm going to Portland or LA,
Uh-huh.
it's gonna be a rough ride. You don't know if you should go straight or south or north, or you
Yeah.
have to have
Good.
a vision, right? Vision drives the strategy
Mm,
drives the tactics drive the tool. Don't go for the tools
okay.
before you can figure out the big picture questions.
Very good advice. All right. So where can people find you? Because I know you've been posting on Facebook. Is there a place you want people to find you if they want to connect or learn more about the course you're building?
Yeah, I have. I started creating a course, and we'll give some prompts away to
Okay.
your
Cool.
audience as well, using either the craft formulas or some of
Yeah.
the initial prompts I created in the
Okay.
past. I use a similar formula, but not
Hmm.
the exact wording. So we'll give away some stuff.
Awesome.
AIFastpath.com is the domain where I'm going to host everything.
Nice.
AIFastpath.com, and then / 3 prompts. We'll make that the page where people can get
Awesome.
some prompts.
Forward
That
slash number three prompt.
number 3, yeah, prompt. Yeah,
Okay.
we'll come up with
You can
the
change it later. I'll put it in the show notes, whatever it is.
okay. And so I'll give people some prompts, and they can take them. And again, tell AI, ChatGPT or Claude. You can use both. Claude is good for coding if there's anyone who wants to code.
Okay.
Lovable is great for websites, memberships. If you just want to use AI and a prompt to tell AI, I need you to build this website. Let me show you the website I built
Yeah, go
in,
for it.
5 minutes, and it took me 30 minutes to decide
Oh my gosh.
what to do. So let me see, Roundtable 916, share screen. You can see this is, I want to host monthly dinners in my local area just to give.
Yeah.
So I'm doing a monthly dinner where I pay for
Uh-huh.
7-figure business owners, investors, entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
So this is I didn't have a name, right? So I started with asking AI, help me come up with a name. 916 is the area code for my area. That's why I use
Yeah.
Roundtable 6. And then why it matters, where trust sparks progress. What are
That's
we doing?
awesome.
How the evenings flow, more or less. So came up with this. And then who, where, what. I
I love
just
it.
an example.
5 minutes. That's crazy.
Building a page took less than 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It was figuring out what I want on there because I had no name,
Yeah.
domain name. I kind of knew what I'm trying to accomplish, but I was confused, vague.
Yeah.
So then I used AI to give me some focus. And then I realized as I'm creating this page, I have to give people an idea of what's going to happen there. So
Yes, exactly.
I use AI to come up with a type of an agenda. And
Yeah.
I made a note in there is like, hey, this is going to drive the night, but we'll change it if we need to.
That's awesome. I
So
love
yeah,
it. Delia,
I,
thank you so much for being on with me. This is so fun. I'll send guys go to aifastpath.com/3 prompt, or we'll change if that's different. We'll put it in the show notes. I appreciate you being on with me. So fun.
Yeah. Yeah. It's always fun to talk about this stuff.
I love it.